The rural Seattle zone was, and still is, loaded with 5 to 10-year-old Honda Civics, and it has an inclination that it's been that way for eternity. An unfaltering supply of solid, reasonable, effective, and maybe even alluring utilized autos bolstered a genuine tuner group with its own particular style. Disregard the Hollywood glitz shake of the quick and furious establishment. The Seattle look was low and spotless, differing between practical taking care of enhancements and something that would later advance into the position development. What's more, much the same as the 2018 Honda Fit I drove for 7 days, there was a central goodness to them that rose above their economy auto bones. Obviously, from the 4th Age Auto in 1987 up until the 7th Age Autos in 2001, all Civics had in a general sense great suspension plan. It was a place that Honda spent some additional cash, instead of basically fit MacPherson swaggers and retire until tomorrow. Not exclusively did that mean there was great geometry to begin with, there was space for the resellers exchange to enhance things altogether without having to re-engineer the in-arms. The move linkages were likewise stellar, utilizing a couple of bars rather than the less expensive link arrangement, something that wouldn't last, in spite of the fact that Honda still figures out how to influence link shifters to feel truly great. In any case, the fact of the matter is, Civics were shoddy economy autos that figured out how to be a hoot to drive. And an extraordinary beginning stage for constructs, FWD drag autos, corner carvers, or pummeled cruisers. The Civic, more than some other auto around here, made it conceivable to have a considerable measure of good times for not a ton of cash. Which conveys us to the Fit, which given the size increment of the Civic is presumably the nearest simple to the pre-2001 Civics in the lineup. Truly, a ton has changed. There's no bar-activated move linkage, and it has MacPherson swaggers in advance with a bend bar semi-autonomous backside. That cash spared is connected to things the driver can value constantly, as comfortable seats and a touchscreen infotainment framework that would have dropped jaws in an Acura in 1998, and additionally costly things under the skin, as airbags, a substantially beefier crash structure, and the 1.5-liter Earth Dreams motor. A note about that. While some high-trim forms of the Civic got tech, like the D16 socket tech and X-trims, or the productivity-arranged techie framework in the HX and 6th era Civics, the Earth Dreams motor is substantially more mind-boggling. Rather than multi-point port infusion, the motor uses coordinate infusion. More to the point, the valve train is considerably more perplexing. It's stock, for one, and uses the most recent form of IVTech which incorporates consistently factor cam staging on both the ignition and fumes cams, and furthermore factor consumption lift. These frameworks are costly, as are tuning them to meet contemporary discharges and effectiveness norms. Then again, the 130 strength, at 6,600 RPM, and 114 pound-feet of torque, at 4,600 RPM, the Fit makes best the 1996 Civic X's once praiseworthy figures by a reasonable edge. That auto made 127 horsepower, 6,600 RPM, and a measly 107 pounds-to-foot, 5,500 RPM, and that pinnacle torque came 900 RPM later than the Fit's. A 6th era car weighed only 2,342 pounds, while the Fit is considerably heavier, 2,522 pounds. Those additional pounds can be clarified by the much more thorough well-being gear necessities. This is a long acquaintance before getting with driving impressions, however I needed to pass on the numerous manners by which the Fit is comparable, and the similarly vital ways that it's extraordinary, from the autos that essentially made Honda's notoriety in this nation. To hover back around, the 1990s Civics weren't worked with the cognizant reason to wind up fan autos. They essentially were worked with astounding parts that enhanced the experience, regardless of whether you were simply puttering around town in a DX hatchback or club hustling in an X car. Also, the Fit, more than any Honda since the original Fit, nails that unrealistic just, incompletely. In essential terms, playing harsh with the Fit pays off. It's certainly moderate, yet that implies most byway moves are at times full throttle undertakings. The more tightly the street, the more force you have to carry to influence it to out of the corner with some similarity of pace, the more it flourishes. Echoes of prior Civics resound here, and more here than most autos available, which don't need to be worked this difficult to be had a ball, in agreeable exercise, or aren't sufficiently fun to boost being worked so hard. The link-worked shifter and to a great degree light grip pedal move toward becoming, after a little change period, totally subliminal activities. In like manner, the pedal box is perfect for throttle blipping in a tight corner rapidly and unequivocally, which helps protect considerably more energy. This is all great, since keeping the fit moving requires a considerable measure of moving. Get profound into the beat and you can disregard the blemishes, since this isn't a mid-1990s Civic resurrected all things considered. The electric directing rack has been enhanced from a year ago's outline with an orientation correction, however it says yet an inner thing that doesn't disclose to you much about what the front end is doing. What's more, the stock suspension permits sensible street holding yet without the certainty of more established or better Hondas. Street defects make the fit contribute in unforeseen ways, in spite of the fact that it doesn't appear to decrease hold much. The activity is go ahead, overlooking the perturbing body movements and numb controlling, since they don't influence advance all that much. In case you're a fit proprietor keen on slaloming all over the gulches, there's a semi-reseller's exchange arrangement, HFP springs and dampers. My auto wasn't so fitted, yet we drove a HFP adjusted fit not long ago. And it nails the flow that made old Civics so appealing. In any case, even the dead stock fit Sport I drove, with its weight and dynamic weaknesses, has more vintage Honda character than anything similar, also bundling effectiveness and load conveying capacities that are close wonderful. The small points of interest, similar to the cup holder to one side of the directing wheel, ooze an odd appeal, as well. In a market overwhelmed with hybrids that convey less with far less appeal, the fit helps me again to remember every one of the reasons individuals went gaga for Hondas in any case.